So, welcome to the Welcome Workshop. It's not very ingenious naming, but I couldn't figure out what else to call it. But tonight and today, because I think I saw someone's dialing in from Christchurch. Is that Christchurch, UK or Christchurch, New Zealand? I don't know. Today, we're going to be talking about nurturing ourselves and nurturing our business. Tonight, I'm ably joined by Phil, who's going to be our producer, if anything happens. So, Phil, can you just do a very short headline ways of working tech tour, please?
Yeah, so very simple ways of working. We'll do some breakout rooms, but I should be able to manage them without any confusion. So that should be nice and easy for everyone. We'll use the chat box as we are. So it's nice to see lots of contributions in chat. Just share your thoughts, share what you've got. Probably best for audio with, let me just check, with 46 of us on the line to stay on mute apart from when you're talking. But do feel free for occasionally, and Kirsty or I will call it out, feel free to put your voice in the room from time to time because we want it to be lots of people engaging and talking. So I think I've covered everything. Is that good for you, Kirsty?
Yeah, it was all good for me. I think it would be good for everyone else. The flow of today, there's going to be some input from me, some chat up front. Obviously, many of you know I'm all about the chat box as well as breakout rooms. So there will be some short thinking reflection time. I think if you're going to be nurturing yourself, there's a bit of a inner work. It's not all about the outer world here. So I hope you've got some pen and paper by your side or something to scribble your thoughts on at some point. It's funny just watching you all suddenly go, oh my God, have I got everything I need? Yeah, I do have to make a call out though. I just want to congratulate someone who's on this call that she arrived 12 hours early this morning. Susan, I'd like to say massive thank you for your enthusiasm for being here 12 hours early. That made my heart sing this morning when you sent me that message. So I'm gonna have to find you a prize, definitely, because I think that's the best I've ever seen. Though I did turn up to a yoga class a week early last week, which was a bit disappointing, and then couldn't make it this weekend. Anyway, besides the point. So look, this week is all about, well, tonight and this week, it's serving two purposes. One, I really wanted to create a harvest gathering because to me that's about like resetting, refreshing, renewing, honoring what's gone before and what we're going to take forward. So that's what this week is all about, creating different spaces for you to join us and have different experiences that can help you from a mental perspective, emotional, spiritual. I haven't put anything physical in, I haven't put any exercise in. I thought that might be taking it one level too far right now, but that's always something for the future. Many of you know I'm quite up for some exercise. But also as well, this is a launch week for the SoF Collective, and that will be launched on Sunday evening, on the Sunday the 18th. So we've got lots of fun things lined up for you, and we'll get to more of that later. But I just wanted to talk about harvest and like what the term means for you guys. So look, harvest is traditionally that time in the year when we physically, and I think metaphorically, start to reap what we've sowed. You're bringing in the fruits of your labor, restoring what we've had. I know some of my friends who have got their own allotments, they're starting to like pick everything and store it and work out what to do with it, or their veg and their fruit. I think also this is the time of the year where you see the farmers tilling the land and preparing for the winter so that everything is ready for spring. And you want to be able to prepare for the winter months, those sort of longer, darker nights, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, those are friends and colleagues who are down in the South. They'll be going the opposite way to us and going into spring. But I've also noticed like harvest time is that point in the year when, and you'll see it as well, nature starts to slow down. She pulls back. The trees change their colors. They go yellow and gold and red, and we get a real beautiful show. But the reason the leaves are changing color is that the trees know they need to start to draw back their nutrients. So that's what they're doing when they're beautifully green. The tree's happily making chlorophyll, it's putting nutrients out there to go green, but it knows that the days are getting shorter, so it needs to save its energy. And that's why we get that glorious color in autumn. And the reason the tree is doing that is it needs to start saving its energy and its nutrients and redistribute it to the core functionality of a tree. So like the tree trunk and the roots, all in readiness for the winter time. So the tree knows what's good for it. It doesn't question it. It just gets on because it knows like its beautiful green leaves are going to come back later, 6 months down the line. So I was starting to think like that's a really good analogy for us as both humans and business owners, because this time of year, we could do a bit of pausing, we could do a bit of reflecting and resetting and thinking about, well, what am I reaping from the last 6 months? You know, what have I achieved? What am I really proud of? Let's be honest, this is the most unusual year probably many of us will have ever experienced, but there will be things you're proud of and the achievements that have come through. There'll be new strengths you didn't know you had. And then it's about how do we set intentions? Like, what do we want to take forward? So I'm not talking about like these, I'm not a big goal setter. Anyone who's ever worked with me know I'm not sort of a create your strategy, write your big numbers down, but I am about setting intentions, because I do think if you can name what's important for you, like values and your beliefs, and you can create some congruent emotions within, things do start to appear, which is pretty cool. So in August in Europe, it's holiday time. So a lot of us have a natural pause. Then you get to September, and for many of you, I know some of you have got children, you get the start of a new term, you get the start of university. So then you get that whole, I call it like that back to school feeling. Anyone else ever have that back to school feeling? Give me a wave across the screens. Yeah, and even I don't even have kids, and I still get the back to school feeling. And I know some of my friends on here don't have children either, but you still get that sensation. It's like, crack out the new pens. Let me find some new stationery book. And then October, I don't know if you've noticed where people live. I live right in the middle of the countryside, and I came back from France yesterday, and as I was driving back, I was like, oh my goodness, like every field is brown now. Every field has furrows and has been tilled. You can see the haystacks and everything have been sort of created into balls. So you're like, yeah, like we're slowly like slowing down. And I don't know about you, but it's pitch black outside now, and it is dark early. So I was just thinking, let's have a session tonight where we do a bit of a, how was our summer? What did we take? What are, like, really acknowledge what you did and how well it went in different ways. It's going to be different to what you would probably talk about, and then set some intentions going forwards. How does that sound to you guys? As a bit of a way of working. Oh, thank you. Thumbs up are always good. Make me smile. So here's the first question I have for you. A bit of a chat box. What does the word nurture mean to you? Because I've been banging on about nurturing, and then I was like, what does it actually mean? So what does nurture mean to you? So minding myself, creating, helping to grow, caring for something, looking after, caring for myself, to feed, to support and help and grow. Oh, kindness, I love that. And patience. And now it's gone really fast. Taking care of something, tender care. Yeah, lots of caring and growing, self-support. Providing protection and nourishment. Lovely. Boundaries. Yep. So I looked up a definition. I was a bit like, oh, I didn't expect that. So I'm going to say it and then I will type it. So the Oxford English Dictionary definition is to care and protect whilst they are growing. To care and protect whilst they are growing. So let me just write that. Look at you, Jason. I got a half mark. There's no half marks. So I think it's important we can all have our own interpretation, but that's what the dictionary said. Who knows if the dictionary's right? I think what is right for you, that's the thing to take away. But oh dear, spelling. See, half a mark taken. So it's like for me, yeah, someone's just written that, like the plants is you care and protect for those ideas, those intentions that are going to grow. And then I was like, oh man, like think about what happens now. We're going into the winter months, and I've never really thought about this before. I've just always plowed on. I've always worked. I've always just continued on this treadmill and like just kept thinking. And then last year I joined a year-long course about working with the seasons and noticing the energy. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. Like, what if during this winter period, I just nurture ideas? So I don't have to be putting out lots of ideas. I don't have to put out lots of content. Yeah, the corporate clients are still going to need some turning around, but there is a natural call to slow down. Does anyone else ever have that feeling like you just want to sort of slow down a bit? It's like you don't need to rush around. I've got a really great colleague, Laura Beckingham, and I know some of you follow her on social media. And Laura does a thing come, might be December, but definitely in January. She's like, I don't leave the house after 5 o'clock. I'm just settling in. I'm slowing down. I'm not putting myself under pressure to be rushing around cities. Neil, what have you got for us here? So Neil's our word man. Phil, do you want to read it out? Because it's probably, you can read it quicker than me.
Yeah, it's lovely. He's just talking about the etymology of the word. So it comes from Middle English, from Old French, excuse the pronunciation, but nourriture, and meaning nourishment, and based on the Latin, nourrir, to feed or cherish.
Cool. Yeah, French for food is nourriture. Yeah. Margaret, I know that that's the natural cycle thing, but I also think autumn has a lot of energy. I do most of my work in the autumn. Interesting. Do you think there's like an energy of using up the energy before, like our bodies know to use up all the energy that it's been creating before we go into the winter months? I don't know. Feel free to share your own noticings. And do you know what? This might not resonate for you, but some people it will.
I think it's fascinating to think that that beautiful expression of the autumnal colours is actually a withdrawal of the energy. And it's amazing to think that that kind of withdrawal can have such a positive, beautiful outward impact.
Yeah, and actually some interesting comments as well in the chat box. Joe, I love that. Yeah, clients are often using up their budgets, so we suddenly get a flurry of work. I've had a few emails, interestingly, this week. You've got the trees fruiting and collecting all of that up. What else did I just see? Oh, Rachel, once I accept that summer is here, I bunker down and pretty much have a very productive autumn. Yeah, I sort of want to do September, October, November. And then December, I don't know again about you, I think it's our industry, clients just get really quiet. And actually, my colleague and I, Sean, when we're working with the corporates, we just try and massively discourage them from doing anything in December because none of their people are ready for it. So we're like, there's no point trying to do training in December. I don't know if I'm seeing some nods and some smiles. Good to know. So we just encourage, so then that means December we can just finish off and get all the design done and set up any delivery for early January and get going. Cool. So here's another question. So if to nurture is to care and protect whilst we're growing, how do you currently nurture yourself? Just yourself, so not your business, just you. Just take a moment and have a think, like, how do we nurture ourselves? What do you have in place for you? And feel free to drop into the chat box. Hey, Sue, I do some learning. Love it. Sarah, meditation and exercise, sleep and good fuel. I get a big coat. Is that what you mean, Tim? Nice. Pottery. I just heard someone, who said pottery? Alison, you make pottery. That is so cool. You might have to start commissioning SoF pots, mugs, SoF mugs for calls like this. All right, that's someone make a note of that and remind me because I'll get too excited and giddy. I just saw someone lifting heavy weights. I love lifting weights. I've missed that. I've stopped my gym membership because I'm in and out of quarantine too much, so I can never actually get in anywhere. David, I'm with you. Great coffee. Love a coffee in the morning and walks. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, it's all gone crazy. Cooking, pacing myself, reconnection with what matters, and energize. Phil, any ones you're picking up?
But I just love Kat's kind of different line on the Netflix. It's like, yeah, it's good. Whatever works.
Netflix recommendations from me. The Ratchet, Nurse Ratchet. Oh, that's spooky. What else? Oh, Social Dilemma. All about social media. If you ever fancy watching that and then coming on a group call, we can talk about it. That was a bit fun. Time by the Fireplace. I haven't lit my fire yet. I'm waiting for that super first really, really cold evening that I feel like I can light the fire. Candles, definitely candles. I'm loving the fact that those are back in play. So that's how we can nurture ourselves. I'm curious, how are you nurturing your business? So I look across the screen, and all of us are freelancers. Call yourself what you want, a freelancer, a solopreneur, an associate. Some of you got your own clients, some of you work with training companies and for other people's clients. So, but you still got a business, so however small or big. So how are you nurturing your business at this time? I nurture my business by saying no and creating space. Margaret, I'm taking stock of what's in and what's new. Love it. Reconnecting with others, stretching my expectations. On a course, investing in the longer term, getting in touch with a client every day. Joe just redid the website, a photo shoot. I think a lot of us need that. How else are people nurturing?
It's also important to notice that, you know, some people are saying that they're not. So it's a really interesting kind of honest. I really respect the honesty and the truth of just saying, no, it's not happening for me right now. So that's brilliant.
A dare of the day. Oh my goodness, Christoph. Is it all safe dares? So
Playful.
yeah. So the next thing I wanted to say was like, but why is this all important? You might be going, why should we even care about nurturing ourselves? And so I did some research, and many of you will have seen on social media that on Saturday it was World Mental Health Day. And so I did a bit of a ask Google a few questions, and I came up with some interesting stats. And I think these relate for us as much as they relate to anyone else. So in 2013, 8.2 million cases of anxiety were recorded in the UK. 8.2 million. In England, twice as many women than men are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And I thought that was interesting because there's a lot of women on this call. So that was like, oh, did not know that. And then in 2019, a bit of research was done by YouGov, and about 4,500 people were surveyed, and 74% of people said they felt stressed, overwhelmed, or unable to cope at a certain point in the year. That was 2019. I daren't think what it's going to look like for 2020. And I thought, look, but why is that important? And why is it important that we nurture ourselves? Well, one, we work for ourselves. Two, many of us are bringing in the money, either as an equal, or if you live on your own, like many of us do, you've got to bring in the money for yourself. Many of you have responsibilities. Many of us have responsibilities for family, for our team. Maybe we've got people who work with us. You've got a mortgage to pay, rent to pay. You know, you want to do things with your life. The other thing I noticed is self-isolation is on the rise in 2020. And therefore, looking after ourselves becomes even more important because we're just not getting those connections, those physical, emotional connections. So your dopamine and your oxytocin levels are dropping. The other things as well, the reason for the self-nurture, whether it's in our business or for ourselves, is simple things like we want to keep growing ourselves so that we can keep being in service to our clients. Like you can only be as good as your learning and your knowledge, and that sort of works from a what I call like functional knowledge, but then also have you done some inner work? So it's the inner work as well, like going and sorting through, excuse my French, your shit, because if we don't sort our shit out, it comes back to bite us when we're working with our clients. And therefore the inner and the outer work when we're looking at our business and nurturing ourselves is as important. And by the way, this is on top of everything else you do in your life. So when you're running a business, you wear multiple hats. You're a business owner, you're a facilitator, you're a trainer, you might be a coach, you're the salesperson, the marketeer, you're designing, you're delivering. And then you've got home life. And for the majority of women, when you've got the home life, you're also the home secretary, you're the cleaner, you're the chef, you're the shopper, and you're a teacher. So guys, I'm not taking away from the fact that you don't do that, but often there's some stats that Mary Porter's talks about that women have a third job. It's your third career often is home life and children. So I just thought it would be good this week to give ourselves some permission to pause and slow down and do some reflection. So back to the trees and back to thinking, well, of those beautiful leaves that I have grown over the summer and that are now turning gold and yellow and red, what do I want to keep and what is going to serve me during the winter months, and what do I want to gracefully let drop to the floor? So Phil, you have got a handout that I'd love you to drop into the chat box. Handout, I have learned, everyone always asks about the poem. In the handout are 3 pages. Page number 1 is the poem. Boom. Page number 2 are summer reflection questions, and page number 3 are autumn intentions. So at this point, my recommendation is just go to the summer reflection page. And I've also been super efficient and done it as a slide. So let me drop the slides up so you can see what I am talking about. So you should be able to see the slides. Give me a nod. So these are what we're going to have a think about. Now, you don't have to answer all of these in one go because there's a lot here, but I wanted to give you food for thought. But I'd love to start thinking about what are your highlights and the things that you're so thankful for over the last 6 months in this summer. Who are you thankful for, or who stood by you, who stepped up to help you? Name what was difficult over those 6 months and what challenged you. Also have a thing like, what are you most proud of? What is your biggest achievement? So, and what are your personal qualities that have shined through? So that's what we're going to think about. So I'm hoping you've been able to download the file at this time. And then Phil is going to work his magic and he is going to drop you into trios. If you haven't been able to download the file, top tip, just take a photograph of this slide that's up on the screen right now. So once you've managed to take a photo, you can see people's cameras hovering towards the screen. I'm going to stop. Does anyone want me to keep the slides up? Give me a shout. Otherwise, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm looking across the screen. No one's shouting at me. Okay, so Phil's in charge now.
Yeah, I'm ready to press go. So you'll get an invitation to join a breakout room now. So have fun. Oh, sorry.
Just clarify those slides. The questions, it could be personal, it can be business. You decide what is right for you right now because you are your business and your business is you. So I think they probably start to cross over.
How long do we have?
A good 12 and a half minutes.
12 and a half.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you have a good chat. Say hi to the people. You might know them, you might not.
All right, I'm opening the rooms now. Bye.
Hi, Ali. Kirsty.
Hi. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Oh my God, Kirsty.
No, I'm going to leave the room because
okay.
I just need to do something with the filming. I might come back though.
Oh, sorry, Kirsty. Helen is there with that. So they will be back within the next 20 seconds.
And if you're watching the recording, you've just got back early. Hey, Hayley.
Oh, hi, it's just me.
No, don't worry. You were the first back, but everyone's like ping, 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 ping. Hey, Anne. How's the West Coast?
Lovely. Yes, there was dawn yesterday morning. Was absolutely magnificent. It was. I stood out watching it with a cup of coffee.
Oh my God. So welcome back. Now, I know 12 and a half minutes between three of you is not enough time for every single question. That's why we've given you the handout, so you can spend some more time doing your own reflection. But it would be lovely to hear from some of you, either through your voices or in the chat box, what was coming up? What were you noticing going through that exercise?
One of the highlights our group shared was this community. Just finding a place where there's so many of these that popped up at the beginning of lockdown. And this for me was the only one that I really connected to. I mean, I tried to do some of this stuff with my friends and facilitators, but I think the people in my group also agreed that this is just such a lovely, beautiful, warm, welcoming place. So thank you.
Thank you. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. All a bit like typical female. Cohen, get you. What else? Shirley, I was excited to be listening to Jason Cooper's podcasts. Margaret, appreciating resources of home life and nature and the lovely weather this spring. We were so lucky. Well, I was. What else? Feel free to put your voice in the room, guys.
So, Rich has given us what was common in his group. Rich, do you want to tell us about what was common in your group?
I can do that. I think there was a space that happened where each of us was able to just check in with ourselves and go, actually, that thing that I've wanted to do for a while, I'm going to do that. But it came from the space, if you like, and they're sort of slowing down and amongst all the hecticness to actually go, no, this is my chance, this is my opportunity.
That resonates for me as well. And I think I know I spoke with many of my friends about there is this space, there is this, what none of us were expecting, like, what are we going to do with it? Like, what does it actually mean? Even that slowing down, it might have felt icky to begin with because the slowing down also meant no work. But I think when we realized there was absolutely nothing, it wasn't a reflection on us that the work stopped necessarily, or it was quieter than it had been. Actually, it was, I don't know about you, but I started to work through that and go, well, it's okay. There's other things that can happen.
Slowing down does need to be conscious though, because it's I mean, it's like the invitation, but I mean, who here has also felt like just the pace of everything else is going, you know, like a tornado. So it's really important to acknowledge that pause and I think build it in as well.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that a lot of you said, you know, I found myself learning new skills, a lot of online, virtual, the world of how to find those connections as well. DIY, if anyone follows Grey Matter Learning on Instagram, you would have seen Shirl's DIY skills come to the fore. I love that. My summer was manic and I realized what I don't want to do. And I was wondering about that for other people, because I've had this, is like, how rude. Some clients showed up in September and wanted my time. I was a bit like, there was a slight indignant feeling going through my body, but also a bit like, thank you, because it meant there was some capital coming into the business. But another part of me was like, I've been really enjoying this calmer creativity, finding space to create things like this that would never have happened if I stayed stuck in that loop. So I didn't know if anyone else had that sensation of like, what do I want to keep and what don't I want to keep, and therefore start naming it as we go into this space. Tim, I felt quite aggrieved at having to make choices again. Yes, that's it, Tim. It was making choices and being conscious.
I had this wonderful kind of niching thing where I've been struggling with a niche for like years, and then actually, Kirsty, it was you who introduced me as someone who works with charities and organisations with purpose, and I just went, oh, that's me. And it just felt right immediately. It was said about me rather than me having to decide what to say.
It's been interesting.
Kirsty, it's Esther.
Hey, Esther.
Hi. So I really struggled with answering the question around highlights, thankful, all of this, that and the other. And I feel like, coming back to the tree analogy, that the leaves fell off my tree back in the spring, just when the weather turned at that point. And the analogy I gave to the group was, I feel like I've been standing in the mulch, you know, when the leaves go all wet and soggy and they just turn into this horrible mulch. I feel like I've been standing in mulch all summer, but I can recognize the nutrients that that's bringing and the richness. It's been a shit summer, and the learning and the richness that's come from that has supported me and helped me and will make me stronger. I recognize all of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the leaves fell off back in spring.
And there's some people nodding through here, and I know just through some emails that people have sent me, the sort of, their proverbial shit hit the fan as well, either through the summer or even now with redundancies. So I know that's happening. So yeah, I'm not by any sense of the imagination thinking everything is the proverbial bed of roses, of a different kind of roses now.
But it's not just that it was rubbish, it was the fact that there was a richness. I can feel the richness, I can feel the nutrients. That winter's horrible in many ways, but it's a way to help bring about newness, and that's what I can feel through the summer.
That's interesting. And that must have been a different energy sensation potentially, versus where we sometimes feel that nutrients and the mulchness coming through. Thanks, Esther. Thank you. Someone's just written, Tom, from the dead organic matter comes life anew. Love it. So we've had a look at the summer reflections. It's time now to turn towards autumn and those intentions. So again, let me just share my screen. And for those of you who just want to share some questions that, so like autumn intentions. And there's 2 pages of these, there's 8 questions, and there's too many here, I get that, but I want you to be able to take this away afterwards and sort of sit with them. And for the thinkers amongst you, it's good to get into the feeling. So how do you want to feel during autumn? What are the feelings, emotions, sensations? What changes would you like to create in your life? And that could be your business. How do you want to be in service? And I put that one in there because I look across us as facilitators and trainers, and that's often one of the key reasons why we do what we want to do. We're in service, we want to help, we want to give back. How can you create more balance in your life, both the inner and the outer world? And then just the second set I had was, what do you want to gather and harvest in the next few months? What will you release that no longer serves you? So imagine, what leaves are you letting drop? But what will you keep that will support you through the long winter months? And I found this question, I thought it was really beautiful. How will you allow more light in during the darkness of winter? I was like, oh, how do you do that? Thanks, Rach. I was like, yeah. And I can't take any, what's the word? It's not my question, but I found it and I just thought it was really beautiful. So these questions are on the handout. So I'll go back to the first set if you want to take a photograph. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take 5 minutes in silence here as a group. And the invitation is for you to just glance through those questions. And I'm guessing some of them will talk to you. Some of them will just resonate straight off. And just spend some time for yourself, just jotting down what are your thoughts on these questions? And then we will go back to our trios after that 5 minutes and talk about our partners and our friends. So I'm just going to invite everyone to just drop themselves into mute so we can have silence. Yeah, just take the time now, 5 minutes, I'll do a timer. So as we come to the end of 5 minutes, I'm sure you're still doing some thinking and reflecting. We're going to go back into the same groups. Phil's going to work his magic, hopefully. And we're going to take another good 12 and a half minutes to have a conversation with our friends about what we just noticed and what we just noticed. You don't have to share everything, but just anything that feels relevant for you. Enjoy. Incoming.
Hello, welcome back.
Hey, gang.
The big room. The small room, the big room.
Everyone flying back in.
Here they all are now.
If only it was that easy in real life when you gave a time cue that everyone suddenly came arriving back in.
I learned a really good trick to get people to come back on time, which is the last person that come back in the room has to sing a song.
Who said that? No.
It works. It works so well.
No.
What song would you like me to sing?
There we go. And then we get the entertainers, and then everyone's really happy. So
no.
I scare people. So if you want everyone to leave quite quickly, put me on.
No. We'll talk about this another time offline, Cohen. Please treat them like adults, not kids. You'll only end up getting people quite disruptive if you threaten them. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly.
it's all about the framing. But yeah, we can talk about it offline.
And Jamie says, "Oh, it ends too soon," and we know that.
We know that. We just said that, and we said the fact that Phil gives like the 30-second warning, and no one came back. You can always tell when the breakout's going well because no one takes the opportunity to drop back in soon enough. So this is good, but it's also 8:15 or 9:15, depending where in the world you are. So I want to honour that it is Monday night, team, and you have your own lives to lead. So it'd be lovely to hear either in the chat box or in your voices, like what were some of your noticings about your autumn intentions? So is there anything you'd happily share with us? It'd be lovely to hear some voices, some people who haven't maybe spoken yet. More self-belief, some letting go. David, whenever I hear that, I just think of the song Frozen 1. That's a good one to have on play, unless you're a parent and it's done your head in already.
So, Kirsty, it's Tom here. One of the things that that struck me as we were answering some of those questions, particularly those around what you're going to keep that's going to support you through the long winter months. How do you allow more light in during the darkness of winter? It really just made me think of, literally, what is it that gets you through winter? And, I instantly thought, right, well, Christmas kind of sits in there. So that's something to look forward to. And that's what got me thinking about, what are the things, what's the northern star that I'm aiming towards? What's the thing that I'm really going after that's going to keep me on the right path? And, that could literally be Christmas, or it could be the feeling of a new year, or it could be, working with clients. For me personally, it's all around CPD and personal development at the moment. I know that I've got a list of things that I want to do. Yeah, that's going to keep me going during some of those months when things may slow down a little bit. So that's just something that dawned upon me as we were talking about.
I like that. My northern star. I love a bit of a planet's analogy. Up in the sky and a moon. I have to say, keep going back to Alex's phrase. He or she's gonna keep swimming outdoors. Hats off to you. Amazing, Alex. I'm sorry, female Alex. Neil, I did see your comment. Surprisingly for me, I'm not going to change anything. And do you know what? Some of us may have had a shift over the summer, and you've sort of you've had your reset, and you want to keep what's going on. So fair dues. Andrea is saying, on reflection to that, Neil's giving me a new goal, not feeling the need to change things right now. Beautiful. Being my own better friend.
Kirsty?
Yes,
Rita. Hi, Kirsty. Rita. I want to pick up a new theme of reaping what we sow, and it's been really quite interesting for me because last week, on the 5th of October, we launched with a client, we finally launched a 5-day program, 5-day intensive, residential. I've never done a 5-day. I took the client out of it, said everyone be exhausted. In actual fact, it was phenomenal. But in terms of, that took a full year. So when the group HR director put the email up on the board, I'd submitted the proposal on the 2nd of October. It took us a year to launch. Primarily because of COVID. The Irish delegates couldn't come over to be with the UK delegates and so on. But for me, there's the real sense of sometimes things take time to come to fruition. And as Kirsty, you will know, people I've gotten close to in this group, I absolutely went really low during lockdown, really low. All my work wiped out. And so for me, a couple of things going forward is the seeds we sow do come to fruition, and it might take some time. We need to nurture those relationships and stay in touch. And the other thing I want to hold on to going through autumn and winter is the absolute joy I feel about being back face-to-face delivery and maintaining that, but the huge sense of gratitude that I feel to have work flowing, and God may keep on flowing, but knowing that even if it doesn't, this is at least 18 months work I have with the client, and I'm not going to lose the roof over my head. But the sense of gratitude and the absolute sense of joy and seeing myself back to being healthy and well. I won't say I haven't lost lockdown weight, but being well mentally and emotionally. And it's just, you know, I'm so grateful to you, Kirsty, and to people I've met in this group over the last, 5 months. Thank you all.
No, I think, I don't know about the rest of you, but that is one thing that sort of dialed up in, like, to your point, Rita, is that gratitude piece, like just noticing the small things that we're all starting to become thankful for, that probably we just took for granted. And when suddenly you were told you couldn't do something, or it was taken away from you, your pasta, your toilet paper being the smallest things, how suddenly grateful you are for those elements that are in your life: travel, being able to go outside, having fresh air. I'm just reading some of the chat. Kat, I love your comment about stop feeling guilty when I'm not working, and finding that balance and appreciate the sort of the downtime as much as the work time. And I think for some of us who, I think I know enough of you now, like some of us live on our own, some of us don't have a cat, a dog, a baby, a kid. It's really easy just to keep working, or then feeling guilty if you're not doing anything. And I speak that from my own pattern of behavior. But then that's not nurturing yourself if you're working all the time, is it? So that's not healthy either, because you can't be creative, you can't be there energetically for people. Neil Baker, I love that. I did my first workshop since February last week. Lovely, but curiously odd. I'd love to know what the curiously odd bit was.
I also want to pick up on that from Neil, because Neil, do you want to speak to the curiously odd before I do?
Could do briefly, yeah. No, it's just you know, having our kind of people arrive and you say hello and what have you been up to? And somebody said, I've not really been out much since March. I've not been doing anything. You're the first person I've spoken to, really. Normally, or I haven't been in a room with other people. This is really odd. And they're clearly, you know, they arrive anxious. And normally you'd think if you had one person who arrived like that, you'd think, that's interesting. I will keep an eye on you and make sure you're okay. But we had a whole room full of them. And that was our experience as well. So it was just interesting to, you know, to work with people who's, when they arrived, were visibly anxious and yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, we sort of dealt with it just by talking about that, really, and just agreeing what we felt we needed to do differently if we felt strange. That was good. Interesting.
So I did some face-to-face recently and found it odd. I put that out on a little group that a few people in here are on with facilitators, and one of them's a psychologist, and she came back with a really amazingly powerful noticing that from March onwards, I fell in love with online facilitation because I had to, right? It's in my nature that if I have to do something, I'm going to do it with a lot of love and with a lot of joy and go, yes, I love online. I love discovering different things I could do online. But by its very nature, I was kind of prioritizing that and thinking, oh, well, there's even some advantages to this over face-to-face. So when I had to go back to face-to-face 2 weeks ago, when I went back with a client, luckily, and social distancing and everything was all observed, it felt a bit odd. And it was the psychologist in the group who pointed out that it was a mindset, it was a logical mindset shift that I'd chosen to love virtual. and I had to choose to love face-to-face as well. And I can have both. It's not a dichotomy.
Back to making choices again, as Tim said, I've got to make a choice. Damn. Interesting, isn't it? Suddenly having to make choices. I know a few of us had a chat during lockdown, is the fact that choices have been taken away. Did that make things easier? I don't know. I'm just looking back at some of the comments, which are just really, really lovely. What is like nurturing my creativity, paying more attention to what bubbles and surfaces and feels natural, then act on it. Being a better friend to myself, looking forward to slowing down. Things take longer than they take, just accepting that and going with it. What else did I see? Christoph, I love that. I think it's safe to say our 2020 vision boards didn't quite manifest as planned. So I'm living in the moment, I suppose, still focused, but more peripheral vision, allowing other energy in, sometimes much bigger than our own. Having said that, though, I look at my vision board, it's pretty much happened. It says balance, rebalance, community, and there's a big lighthouse. I had no idea why I chose those. Absolutely no idea. I think I'm getting the answer now. Actually makes my stomach just go, oh, goosebumpy. So today we have pause for thought. We've thought about what does it mean to nurture ourselves? What does it mean to nurture our businesses? We've given ourselves permission to, reflect on the summer and feel free to go back to those questions that we shared in the document, the download, or if you took photographs, because I appreciate 12.5 minutes isn't a lot of time to really reflect. Maybe take them with you on a walk. And then we moved into, so what is it we want to set as an intention and take with us into autumn and into the winter? And again, however you like to capture your thinking, is it journaling? Is it just sitting and reflecting? Is it writing some notes? Because I think it'd be really interesting to come back together, give it another 5 months, and let's just talk to it again and say, well, what did happen? Like, what did you do? How were those autumn intentions? How have you used them? And just hearing and seeing and reading what you've been saying, it's really heartening to know that, taking that time to start slowing down and thinking about ourselves is going to be the right thing. I think a lot of us are noticing it, whilst we are being pulled back into sometimes into the doing of life. I think there is something really powerful about the being of life. So that is it for this evening. Just to give you a heads up, if you're curious about the rest of the week, tomorrow is a hot seat. Now, if any of you have ever done a Monday morning gathering that we used to do, this is where you bring some of your biggest, juiciest challenges or things that are just playing around in your head and you're just like, because classically we work on our own and it's just good to bounce ideas around others. So we do a hot seat. People share what's going on for them, and then the rest of us just ask you questions. You don't have to answer the questions, you just sit and listen and you luxuriate in the questions, because the questions will often trigger something for you in your thoughts. Wednesday afternoon, there's the opportunity for a bit of live coaching. So again, anything that's showing up for you that you feel comfortable sharing within the group. Thursday night, get your blankets ready. It's a fireside chat with Dana. And if any of you know Dana, Dana is all about diversity now. And we're going to talk about racism because it's Black History Month. And man, has she got some crunchy bloody questions to ask us to reflect upon. Absolutely acknowledging that the majority of people who come to SoF are white, middle class. And she's just going to kick our butts. And then Friday afternoon, Christoph and I are going to hang out from 4 o'clock onwards. We're going to do the Zen Zone. Christoph is going to lead us through how do we hold space for ourselves, sort of conversation, meditation, experience. And I know quite a lot of you already go to Christoph's Sunday sessions. Saturday afternoon, I'm just going to have a cup of tea and open my Zoom room. So if anyone's around and wants to chat, or is unable to make any of the sessions for the rest of the week and just wants to dive in and catch up, come and join me. That's 3 o'clock. And then Sunday night, we're going to have a bit of a celebration and a party. See how your week has been. What did you get from being part of this harvest gathering? And yeah, what are you noticing? And we'll also launch the collective. So that is the plan. You will keep getting emails. I've learned we have to do this. Keep the sharing, because if you don't keep sharing, you just don't know. So this is the Zoom link, gang. I'm not changing the Zoom link for this week, so just save it somewhere. And then you'll always be able to get in. Other than that, that is it for this evening. It was good to see you. If you're watching this back on replay, feel free to drop us a line in social media. Tell us how it went for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here on a Monday night. I am very touched that so many of you chose to come and hang out. Feel free to come off, mute, say hi, goodbye. But yeah, happy
night, everyone.